In the studio, I have my man Darren Freedom Green. He's talking about this, the issues that are going on in the city of Trenton. You just had a phone call, right?
Right.
Who was that? Who was that person? That
I was a caller calling in. He was just saying he was happy that somebody with some common sense was understanding the dynamics of what was going on in our school system, and political reality, and where the failure exists at. Because a lot of times, people understand what's going on, but they're not in a position or a place of authority to actually do something about what's going on. And real conversation has to be had before you can solve real problems.
That's what's up. Hey, shout out to the caller that called in, man.
Shout out to him.
Hey, look, what we're gonna do right now, where we left off at, the mayor had he made an appearance because basically he had to make an appearance because it was too much heat going on right now, and he had to do it. But I don't know why he did it right there. But you know, I'm gonna let you comment on that. I want you to break it. His statement or speech or whatever it was like 5 minutes. I want you to break down his 5-minute speech for me because I know we just did it in the studio.
Right.
But I want you to go ahead and break it down. I'm giving you the floor.
First thing was, it was a Kwanzaa celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why are you having that kind of conference or discussing those issues at a Kwanzaa celebration? That's the first thing. Okay, what he should have done was had an independent public safety conference on the state and announced that the city of Trenton was in a state of crisis. The second thing he should have done was, if you're having a public safety conference or issue or concern, who do you need? Well, you need your public safety official. So I asked the first question I would ask the mayor is, where was your police director at? Where is the individual who's in charge of allocating the authority body or the governing body of your police force? So I would have him standing right next to me. Same thing you saw what a real mayor do, Mayor Nutter in Philadelphia. When you had the problem with the robberies going on South Street, what did he do? He stood up and had a press conference with his police director right there. Mm-hmm. He announced that different strategies were going to be put in play. He put out, he changed the curfews for the young men and women who were out there doing what they were doing. He also put a piece in there to fine parents in case they didn't do their job, because it's a twofold responsibility when everything fails. It is leadership and it's also citizens. And then the last part of it again was he changed the tactical strategies that you use in a community when things are going wrong. So the mayor should have had his police director standing there with him. And then one of the first things he said was he sent a letter to the governor in September. Okay. Then he followed up and said, I haven't heard anything from him. Now, last time I checked, we're in December. September was quite a while ago.
Now we're in January now.
Yeah, I didn't even want to go there. Yeah, I didn't want to go there. But then again, what he should have done as soon as he didn't hear back from him, last time I checked, Governor Christie's office is on West State Street. I'd have been sitting down there. Or I'd have had an emergency press conference with the citizens of Trenton, letting them know what my plan was, what my initiative was, and what I needed them to do to support me. So I would have been down at the governor's office. But what pained me more was the mayor actually said he didn't care why the governor didn't respond. So what are you saying now is in a state of crisis, you don't care that people are dying? Because the governor is the one right now who can possibly allocate the resources to get more police officers in place. But if we can't do that right now, he may be able to work with the county and other officials to utilize Mercer County Sheriff officers or the state police to come in and patrol. So there's a twofold failure here in terms of leadership. But I also want to address the issue, because everybody keeps saying, why are you so hard on the mayor? Why are you so hard on the mayor? Let me explain something to people, and this is specifically to minorities. When we hold people accountable, when we hold people to be responsible to doing what they ran a campaign to do and get elected to do, that is called intelligence. And when you don't do that, then what you get is the apathetic response from citizens who sit back and relax and act like chaos, confusion, and mayhem is the norm. No, people get murdered in the city of Trenton and nobody says a word. So there's a failure in the community, and there's also a failure in leadership. But I'm also asking, again, other elected officials, like where is Senator Turner? Where is Assemblywoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman? Where is Assemblyman Reed Gusciora? Where is Mercer County Executive Brian Hughes? Where are the freeholders who all of these people down the line just got reelected in the last election? And now you can't get a word from them. But last time I checked, isn't Trenton in Mercer County? Then it's certainly an issue and concern of theirs. And they're the elected officials who should be on point speaking to this governor. And where's the governor? Now, I read in the news he's in Iowa raising money for Mitt Romney. Made over $1 million for Mitt Romney, but he's not taking care of the state he's responsible for. Is Trenton still the capital?
Last time I checked.
Yeah, it is. See, I'm going to go in on people because I'm not a politician, but I'm one who study masters and deals with the science of politics. So I'm going to say what needs to be said. And I love the people. So that's what I'm concerned about, and that's what we're going to focus on. So it's very important that we hold elected officials to their response. But I also want to make a message to and I'll say it specifically, the black community. We need to begin to police ourselves. These are our children. Nobody's importing these criminals. These are people who look just like us, walk right past us, and we don't say a word to them. Rather, we allocate power to stop snitching. And then we care and concern when our niece gets shot or our cousin gets killed. Everybody that's walking around has value, has purpose, and needs to be held responsible, but also needs to learn and be taught the science of appreciating life. Because if you don't teach a person to appreciate life, they can't appreciate another's life. And that's why you see murder happen, and you see a 13 and 14-year-old shoot somebody and not care, because he's been divorced from life, or the appreciation and knowledge of life. And that's a part of our school system, but it's also part of our home structure. And we have to refine both of those if we're looking to be successful. So I'm looking to still work with the mayor. Let's make it clear. Because I'm critical of a person doesn't mean it's personal. But everything in life is personal to me when I apply it as a person. So I'm going to address the issue, but I don't have a vested problem with the mayor per se as an individual. But I do have a problem with his decision-making process, and because I speak to it, then that makes me an intelligent, engaged citizen, which is what you want and need. You won't see that kind of stuff happening up here in Princeton, will you? No, because you have citizens who are engaged, who are involved, who vote, who hold people accountable, and that's what we need to have in the city of Trenton. But you won't have that until you point out what's wrong. And the leadership in the city of Trenton has been wrong. It has been wrong in the county, and the individuals are not being responsible for the quality of life that is in the city of Trenton. And until we educate citizens to know that and not go in the booth and vote for your boy or your friend or your pal or somebody you always knew. No, you vote for a qualitative individual who understands the issues, has a plan. Like the mayor said at that thing, certainly that's a valid idea to say you're going to bring back the vocational school. I salute him for that. But in a school system that now can't even pay for the transportation of these babies on a day-to-day basis, I ask you, sir, what is your plan? How are you going to implement that? So you just can't say anything. You need to walk us through a systematic process and plan that shows me how you're going to do that. Then you also need to show citizens what they need to do to help you do it. That's what happens in a city when you don't involve the citizens. They sit back and get disconnected. So now you come outside of the store and you throw trash on the ground. Why? You don't see it as yours. See what I'm saying? If you disconnect people from the area they live in and the life they're living, then they don't care about it. And that becomes the apathy you see, which becomes a mentality. Now you don't care. You have to say to people, no, here's your assignment. Here's what we need you to do. And this is how you play your part. Now they're engaged, they're involved. Like for instance, if you have a board of education meeting, you should see all of the parents there. If you you should have a city council meeting. You should see that place packed out. But I go to the city council meetings, and at the one before we released, 105 police officers were laid off. There were 15 people in city council. That's a disgrace. But now all these people on Facebook or on the paper or when they're being interviewed on TV want to know, where were the police officers? Excuse me, where were you when the elected officials needed your support to say, hey, we're really concerned about this? So we're going to begin to put some things together here, and we're still going to work with the mayor, but we need to go down and engage this governor who has been doing everything else but governing the state of New Jersey. You know, actually thinking about he could run for president, or actually thinking about he wants to help raise money for everybody else. What you do as an elected official, your city or your assignment is your resume. And then last time I checked, between Trenton, Camden, and the other cities around here, there's no rebuilding going on here, so he gets an F for that. So that's why he didn't run for president, because he would have been illuminated and he would have been exposed. You have to do something before people can expect you to see something.
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
State troopers or bringing back the police? What's your thought about that?
I think when you're in a state of crisis, and I think when you have 8 days and 5 bodies on the ground and murders going on a daily basis, like last night you had a prayer vigil and there were 3 more shootings, you need officers here. So again, we would certainly love to have our police officers come back, but you need to bring this, until you can get that money allocated for that, you utilize what you have. I think the sheriffs should be coming in. I think the state police officers should be coming in and patrolling the areas. You obviously need police force here because, again, the mayor has been short-handed in terms of what he has in terms of police officers. So at night, I think there's only 8 officers patrolling the whole city. So certainly the individuals who live in the city know what's going on, so you need those officers to come through the advised state police or Mercer County Sheriff Office until you can get those police officers returned. That's why it's almost offensive to hear the mayor say he doesn't care why the governor didn't respond. I care about why he didn't respond because his lack of care or concern means we don't get those resources, and then we don't get officers that we clearly need, because now that they're not here, people are dying every day. People are being shot every day. People are being victimized every day. And the most important thing is, how long before this negative stigma sets our city back 15 to 20 years.
Right.
Because if you're on the outside of Trenton, you have to ask yourself intelligently, would you move here? No, because 2 things make a person stay in a geographical position. A qualitative school system, we don't have that, and you want to have some form of economic development, or you want to certainly have public safety. If people are scared to walk to the local store, then they're not going to come here. So that means anybody outside looking to invest won't come in. And also anybody inside who's of a qualitative nature, they're going to do what? Divest or leave this city. Right. So now what do you have? A circle or recycling of dysfunctional, uneducated, unemployed people who will murder themselves.
Okay, now I've asked in my question, I'm going to ask you this question that I had for the mayor. Give me your selling point for the city of Trenton. I'm putting you right on the spot. I want, if I'm coming in from the outside, and if I want to live here, if I want to have a business here, want to raise a family in the city of Trenton, give me your selling point why I should do that.
I really can't give you an answer for that right now. I'm just see that's one of the things we have to do. We have to be real about what we're dealing with. And until we first deal with our internal reality, I wouldn't bring anybody here. It's like saying to you, my home is filthy, and I would invite you into it. Right. My home is unsafe, and I would bring you there. Nobody's going to come here. You have to. If you're going to have discussions about problem solving, you have to be logical. We have to begin to have leaders who are definitely going to deal with, number 1, the public begin to begin to have creative development in terms of our school system and economic development. If you don't have a downtown area, which in over 20 years doesn't even have a sit-down restaurant, that's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. You have to begin to nurture and develop organic businesses here so that they can develop some form of entrepreneurial programs and work within the school system to work with our young people and deal with some form of trades and vocational programs, which the mayor alluded to, which is a good point, because you don't want, in this kind of economy and workforce, people dependent upon other people to give them jobs. But that also has to deal with financial literacy. So I'm now working with my man Keith Ferry, and we're going to be dealing with Prime America and teaching some of our people financial literacy. Because the biggest thing our people don't know is the science and the reality of money. And if nobody's ever taught you how to appreciate it, spend it, deal with it, or understand the dynamics of it, then you don't know how to deal with the problem. You know, so it's a very big thing, like renting and owning. In the city of Trenton, there's too many renters and not enough owners. Right. And that's 2 different mentalities. When you own, you take on the responsibility of everything that entails it or comes with it, because you're not looking for anybody else. When you rent, you're looking for somebody else to come in and save you. Or I ain't gonna worry about the landlord guy. But as an owner, you take ownership of your life, your reality, and the responsibility of building a better quality of life for yourself. So we have to develop that. These are all social skills. See, that's what leaders do. Leaders don't go out front and shine. Leaders make the people shine by developing the skill sets within each and every individual. You have to feed the people, mentally as well as physically. It's not about egotistical people here, trying to be out front. The great Mandela said, you lead from behind and you move the people to the forefront, and as the people move, they'll know who moved them. So I don't have to tell you Free know what he's doing. You sit and listen to it. 2014. You already know.
Running for mayor?
It's not even a question. You tell me. You heard me for a few minutes.
And I'm stabbing it.
Run, freedom, run.
How can people really contact with you? You can catch me on Facebook, Darren Freedom Green. You can give me a call on my personal cell phone number, 609-209-0400. Or you can get me by email, darrengreen1969@gmail.com. But we're going to be out here. We're going to be moving towards the next 2 years, laying the groundwork, working with our elected officials as we move forward. Because it's not about me. I don't want people to think that. That's what we had too much of. Egotistical mayors and leaders who want to be out front It is about us working with the people and working with the citizens and working with the elected leaders to move this city forward. It's not about me. It's about us utilizing every resource available to move us forward. Because again, until we do that, then it's always going to be a small percentage. Like in our city, a nice affluent community is Mill Hill, or a nice affluent community is the Hiltonia, and they are good communities.
Right.
But until you get people to raise their standard of thinking, you don't have a standard of quality of living. Now I'll leave on this last note.
Okay.
You move into an area, and everybody has it's a nice structured level area of housing. Okay, where everybody cuts their lawn, everybody manicures their lawn, everybody takes care of their residents. That is a mindset in motion. So if somebody moves in and they start to have raggedy grass or high bushes, that community or the community of citizens
will
is going to police them.
Yep.
So now you raise the standard. But until you have mindsets that come collectively together to make everybody think and want to be better, because some people haven't seen better. We always say if you know better, do better. But if nobody ever showed you what better is, you don't know what it looks like. You don't know how to operate and deal with it. So we have to teach as individuals, because we have a lot of young people out here who don't know. So we have to begin to reach and teach them, because they become a handicap in terms of our total revitalization if we don't go back and teach them. That's the reality of what I'm dealing with. You don't have to look for it. It'll be in every ward and every city.
Hey, look, give out your information one more time.
609-209-0400. You can catch me again on Facebook, Darren Freedom Green. And also the email darrengreen1969@gmail.com.
Hey, look, I want to thank you for coming in, and actually, like we were saying, like around the 5 o'clock hour, that this isn't just like a one-time interview, and then that's it. I mean, you're going to be coming in periodically, keeping us up to date on what's going on, what you have going on. You see what I'm saying? Because this is a serious issue, man, because it's 2012,
Right.
and it seems like it's just getting worse.
No, it is going to get worse, bro. And the problem is, if we don't correct the problem, a lot of times, and I'll make it again to minorities, we think talking is working. No, you and I talked about me coming on. Then I did the tangible work of coming in. Now we're going to keep the continuing process of creating venues or mediums that we can make this work be implemented. Because a lot of times, and I'll be real and raw, a lot of the young people gravitate towards gangs and the negative aspects of them because they're in action. The gangs are doing something.
Right.
I'm not saluting that. I'm just giving you the science of it. Because they're doing something, that's what those kids gravitate to. So we need to positively be doing things to actively engage them and bring them into doing things. Now, while we have them actively doing things, we activate their thought process by teaching them. See what I'm saying? Whether it's a chess club. This is why our aftercare programs are so important. And I work with Bruce Boyd in the school system dealing with aftercare. Very important that every aspect of education transcend into the community. It's not just the schoolroom. You need to have parental educational process. You need to have community development centers where you can always be engaging people. Like, it's a fallacy to say when you're holding somebody accountable for being an elected leader, that's hating. No, I hate what you're doing, so I'm speaking to it so we can get it right. That is what you need to be doing at the end of the day. Working towards being better, and we need to stop talking so much and build on what we talk about. We can talk about it, but after we leave here, let's work on or actively engage or implement what we talked about. Then people are respected because they're like, oh, they doing it over there. And then what happens is when you inspire people to aspire to want to join on and be in what you're doing. That's how it's done.
Hey, look, I want to thank you for coming in, Mr. Freedom Green. 2014, running for mayor for the city of Trenton.
But right now, we're going to help the mayor of Trenton get his
we're going to help. Yeah, I mean,
look,
we're not, like I said in my letter, we're not against you. We want to help. But you have to let us in to help.
Right.
Now, I can understand you don't want to let me in because I'm not a resident of Trenton. But you got a couple people up here that are residents of Trenton and they care. And come on, look, Mr. Mayor, please be my mayor.
Please listen to me, mayor.
Yeah, please. I mean, come on. I mean, we're begging because it has to stop. You want African American males to get involved. We're trying to get involved. Come on.
As a young African American male, he should be the example of how to move in life, how to develop family, how to deal with education. That's why they fear Obama so much, right? Because he's the exact opposite of what people put out there in the air. Now, I'm not saying Obama is the answer. No, I'm not saying that. He's not the savior. But to see a man inside taking care of his family, being responsible and respectful, carrying himself in a dignified manner, walking around and being, you know, in terms of being a leader. He's everything that you want to see and be in terms of family structure and the dynamics of man being at home, specifically a black man in our community who too many times is missing in action, and then we wonder why these young men don't know how to be men. Somebody has to walk them through that transition, and it has to be us. So in my community, I've always said, if somebody else is not doing it, I know it needs to be done, so it's no need in talking about it, because older brothers always kept me in line, even though I have a great father, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the signs from being a father, man. You got to fatten he or her with the knowledge of themselves, man, and teach them the signs from everything in life.